many people that own real estate, they do, and they started by owning their own business, buying the real estate they're under. So I love to share this, and I don't want anyone to miss the silver tsunami. So let me invite our two guests for today. I see Jeff. Jeff, I'm going to add you, and Earl, make sure there you are.
Thank you, James. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Good
it's
seeing you both.
fantastic seeing you guys today again. I think, Jeff, we've met before, so that's cool. And I look forward to seeing what we can do to help people today.
And this is the exciting thing, Earl, from the brokerage part to the finance part to the private equity. We're going to share your background, Jeff's background, really sharing this all. And I just want to tease and get a little ahead of this. Many people know what's going on with AI. AI is taking many people's jobs, but many businesses are construction development, right? Earl and Jeff, you see businesses that are a little more AI proof than accounting work or legal work, or being a financial analyst. You may, or anyone out there may want to really buy their own business, and talking to these two experts to show you maybe what businesses you should look into just buying. And let's get to the discussion of the silver tsunami. So, Earl, I'll start first with you. If you don't mind, introduce yourself, giving your background, and we'll do the same with Jeff.
Sure. So my name is Earl Kemper. I have been in the business world a good number of years. I've been a business coach for over 40 years, have been involved in business brokerage about that long as well. We found over the years that as we've worked with clients, they needed an exit strategy. And then as we would help them with that exit strategy, they would then introduce us to others that wanted to sell businesses, or possibly even opportunities to acquire additional businesses and locations. So the story today is we're doing a lot of work with businesses all over the world. Our objective is to help them to reach their potential, both in growing their businesses and building their wealth. And in doing so, it usually comes down to the combination of accelerating the growth of their business and then helping them identify the best possible buyer that can financially make a transaction work with them. So we're excited about 2026. I'm like you, AI is really rapidly growing in all industries. We're using it to our best advantage, but I will never, ever believe that it can take the place of what we do as people, what we do as advisors, what we do as really guiding and directing people in the real world of business.
Thank you so much, Earl, for that. I know there's so much more we're going to go into. Jeff Hildebrandt, if you don't mind sharing a little of your background.
Thank you, James. Good to be here, and good seeing you here, Earl. And yeah, my name is Jeff Hildebrandt, and I joined James' team officially. I got my real estate license last month with EXP Commercial, so I'm that's another tool in my belt that I can assist people with out there. But AI is just that, another tool in the belt. So I have 20 years of SBA financing experience, and I'm talking about small business administration financing experience. Probably half of that for the last 7 or 8 years has really been focused on business acquisitions. So since joining EXP, I've been with Live Oak Bank, but now it's opened up to a whole plethora of other banks that we can find a solution for. A Bank of California, a number of others, top lenders out there that we're able to find a solution for your customer without them having to say, well, I'm going to go look at this bank, or I'm going to go look at some other bank. At EXP Commercial, we have a whole platform of lenders available. So if one bank doesn't like it, we can go to the second or third or fourth bank that does like it. So that's one thing is with this platform that James is building out and Earl is building out, is we have a lot of solutions for the customer where it takes away that objection. Well, I'm going to shop around and look around. We already have it all at one stop, one place for you. But talking about different industries, look, I mean, from the top down, the Small Business Administration, the SBA says, hey, we want we want financing programs and we want more manufacturing in the United States. And that just goes from, macroeconomics. You want more manufacturing that creates real jobs for the most part. But with that said, the SBA financing program was updated here back in October of 2025. And some of the guidelines have tightened up a little bit, but there's a lot of room in there, a lot of expansion of this 100-yard football field where you can get downfield, still stay within the chalk lines, and score a touchdown for your customer, meaning that we can find a business for you and we can get financing. And as far as which ones, like I said, there's one right there, manufacturing businesses. The government wants more of those. Those many times those are people oriented. It's fine. There's some robots in there in some of these manufacturing plants, but that's still, it creates jobs. So there's a lot of businesses out there. And later on, maybe during the presentation, I can pull up a couple of slides and give you some other ideas of other industries that we're financing through other banks that the banks like, because they're not going to be really affected by AI, and they're fundable.
Thank you, Jeff. And that's this is a perfect segue into, I know you both have some decks and things to share with the audience. So Earl, you want to share, because I know you do it from all 1 million and under, right? And most deals are smaller, if you can go into that. And then now you play in something much bigger, the middle market and larger deals. And
Yep.
sometimes, I know we can open to both. You both are both experts, one on the brokerage M&A to Jeff on the finance and equity part. So let's kind of share big vision. But if you don't mind sharing if you want to share your presentation or anything else that you have, Earl.
Yeah, I will do that. All right, you able to see that all right, James?
We can. Yes.
Okay. So, I think the topic that we want to hit on together today is really related to the silver tsunami of business world that we're in. Opportunity is knocking. And what I mean by that, James, people may not realize but there are 12 million boomer-owned businesses today. 12 million. And the power of that is that there are 10,000 people turning 65 every single day. And these business owners are needing to have an exit plan. So there will be $10 trillion available to change hands over the next approximately 5 years. 58% of these business owners have absolutely no exit plan. So the potential is incredible. We offer, besides business brokerage and M&A services, various services that help them in their process. Business coaching, getting their business valued, franchise development, virtual CEO, CFO, COO services, exit planning, tax reduction and 1035 exchange programs, capital raising services. So we have positioned ourselves in that middle to high opportunity. We have a number of multimillionaire and billionaire relationships that are getting into buyer broker agreements, looking to buy businesses. My background is I've been a business coach for a little over 40 years. We have got the distinction of being a Hall of Fame coach. I have been the #1 business broker globally for Empowered Business Brokers, which is connected to the EXP world. I am a Renaissance business broker product specialty group leader. So every couple of weeks or so, anybody that would like to learn how to grow their business from where they are to double or triple, we talk about the techniques, the mindset, the systemization, how to use AI, etc. And ultimately, I'm that lucky individual that has 4 children. I have 17 grandchildren. I have 4 great-grandchildren, and I've been married for 47 years. But the really cool thing is where I live, all but about 4 of those family members are actually 10 minutes away from me. So that's pretty cool. So baby boomers are exiting like crazy. 41% of US privately held small businesses are owned by baby boomers. We've already talked about how many there are, how many employees this impacts, and the number of assets. But it's not just in the US, James. I mean, there is tremendous opportunity globally. And so, if you start to look at the possibilities of what is happening in Europe, and the deal values went up 19% in 2025 in Europe. And when we look at Asia Pacific, those accounted for 20% of deals in 2024 and almost 50% in 2023. So there's a tremendous growth pattern on a global level. A lot of businesses are coming into the US, connected to the global world, and some businesses in the US are going into the global world. There's a tremendous gap between readiness and owners. 58% of business owners do not have any kind of formal exit or succession plan. 15% is all that's really even knows what their business is worth. So what does that mean to us? We have opportunities to work with unprepared sellers. We have opportunities to work with buyers who are ready to buy businesses but need help in the negotiation process. We have advisors and brokers who are urgently needing to bridge the gap between what they're doing and their earnings. And we need to create a great process of transitioning business owners from accelerated growth to exit. The people going forward that are the first movers are going to have the best opportunities in this 5-year opportunity that we all have together. This next 5 years, James, is going to be absolutely incredible what we can do in this industry. Whether you're a business owner looking to sell or add to your business locations, whether you're a real estate agent and or a business broker, whether you're a financial advisor, whether you're buying businesses and real estate, whether you're investing in opportunities for tremendous ROI, or you're just building wealth, we can do amazing things together in this area. To do that, I find there are really 6 key things that we're going to need to address. Lead generation is absolutely the key. Developing strong strategic relationships is what I recommend to everyone. I have built in the last 3 years some amazing relationships who have been the referral sources to multi-million-dollar opportunities and billion-dollar opportunities, because they have the connections that I personally have not had in my own life. And then you have to work together to identify the best industries, the best opportunities in our marketplace. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Everyone can look at selling businesses and take advantage of real estate acquisitions as well. So people that are exiting from their business should highly consider what are the real estate opportunities for the money they have received at the sale of their businesses. So this is a tremendous opportunity for our audience, James. Most people don't realize how much power there is in business owners selling their business, of being able to buy additional real estate or buy real estate opportunities that they bring to the table. And
Earl,
I won't spend
can I
much.
ask a quick question? So maybe on it, how big is the silver tsunami to everyone? So everyone can have the grasp, because everyone says, everyone kind of should own their home. There's a percentage. How many people are you seeing that owns businesses and will need to transfer in a time period?
Well, as I said, I talked about there's 12 million businesses just in North America. If you were to take that out to the dollar value of deals worldwide, it's nearly $120 trillion. It's unbelievable
That's a
how much
lot of money,
money.
Earl.
And it's a lot of opportunity for people if they connect with the right people, the right relationships to get in front of those people. The hard part for many of the brokers or business broker and M&A people is actually finding the buyers for the size of the businesses that are possible to be sold out there. It's hard to get those relationships, but if you get in a position of interacting with strategic relationships around you, you'll be amazed at what comes your way. I'm not going to spend any time on financing the deal. I'll leave that to Jeff and his approach. But it's a big opportunity into the future because of there's so much wealth transferring. So you need to position yourself to take advantage of this wave of the industries. And here is what's going on: HVAC, retail, professional services, construction, manufacturing, and healthcare. All of those areas you can see are being impacted, James, by that silver tsunami. And the highest percentage is in the trades and HVAC, construction, and healthcare. And so get connected to that industry, get connected to those relationships, and they are not just in North America, they are global. And then if you're going to build a pipeline, you've got to identify the opportunities you want to do business with. My goal beginning in April of last year was to connect with the right relationships to be able to do $100 million plus deals. And I am in the process of about 8 of those as we speak because of the connections that have been introduced to me. So what you want to do is identify who you want to work with and qualify them to make sure they're the real deal. Connect them with your relationships in your industry and get connected to your industry. It's amazing when you know you have several $billion of buyers, how many sellers come your way. And then you have to be ready to advise people with expert advice or introduce them to experts that can give that advice. No one can be a be-all, end-all to our industry. We have to have certain levels of expertise. And so I think, when you look at the overall scenario, James, what really is mind-boggling is when you're doing a real estate transaction, there's probably an average of about 3.5% commission. It'll range from 3 to 6. When you're doing business brokerage deals, and they even many times include real estate, you get 8 to 12% on the deals. It is a tremendous opportunity. In addition to that, because business in itself is very complex, they need advisory, consulting, and coaching services to help them to maximize the value of their business. And you have to connect with the referral networks that can introduce you. Those can be lenders, those can be attorneys, CPAs, marketing companies. I have a list of about 600 B2B relationships that you can work with that can connect you with businesses. And then repeat the process by every time you make a great client, begin to get referrals. So I give you just a couple of examples. Here's a dental practice I worked with. They were doing $4 million, referred to me by a CPA, $400,000 of profit. We grew their business to $8.8 million in 18 months, $2.4 million in profit, $36 million in 6 years, in the 6th year of revenue for those 6 practices. 8.5 million of EBITDA and found a buyer for 9 multiples. Now, I mentioned that because if you are working in this world and you maybe don't have the skill set, we have a process we work through. So in working with this client introduced by the CPA, we did 8 years of business coaching. We did 5 transactions of business and real estate on acquisitions of new businesses to add to their enterprise. We did a 5-year interactive business plan. We did business valuation, and we did an entire business enterprise sale. To our organization, it generated about $4.1 million, and we paid out referral fees of $615,000 for a 20-minute referral. Only took them 20 minutes to introduce us. They made $615,000. Now, why do I mention that? Because I believe we should, as advisors, be willing to pay those that introduce us to the best deals. And so that's a real big deal.
That's not bad, Earl, for just a quick phone call, especially for doing your job and referring to the right people. But thank you.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is to pay out about $3 million this year to referral fees, James, because we know that's where the business comes from, right? You can do marketing online, you can do all the stuff, but people who introduce you to those great deals. So the way I'll close this is the window is wide open for this silver tsunami. It is unbelievable what we're going to be able to accomplish. And so if you're interested in learning how to do that, you can schedule a consultation by scanning me right there. And if you have a referral, I have a referral system. You get on my website, you get 15% referral fees just by scanning in the information and doing a 20 to 30 minute introduction. And I kid you not, that's all it takes. We're not worried about you being involved in working the deal. We can run with it and do it. So just to bring that all together and then turn it over to Jeff, and then we can go back and forth if you'd like, James. My concept today I want to get across to everyone is in the next 5 years, I believe that there's going to be more wealth transferred ever in the history of mankind. And in 5 years, it's going to be gone, or it's going to be well taken care of. A lot of it is going to be reduced dramatically after 5 years because baby boomers are hot right now. They're wanting out. They need buyers. They need to grow their business as quickly as they can so they can get out in the next 5 years. And so the services and the opportunities for us are tremendous. And the other thing that I think is happening more and more is people need to raise capital and need help doing it in the wisest ways to get the best possible partners in these raises. And so we do that as well. So if you have any deals like that and you'd like to get referral fees, or if there's opportunities to split commissions, let's talk. If not, let's learn together how we can get better at what we do, and let's become the best at what we do in each of our areas of expertise and take advantage of this next 5 years.
Earl, thank you. And I know you cliff noted and just condensed it into a quick, but there's so much more. So I would encourage for to reach out. And I know, Jeff, how we met, at the bank and in Southern California. Can you share, from a banking, because a lot of it is you find the deal, but you got to finance the deal, right? You got to put the money together, and not everyone understands because a lot of people we deal with, maybe residential or just consumers, they don't know how to put the financing really together with all of this. And I know you're teaching some CE classes. That's why Earl, Jeff, we're going to really do a powwow working together, right? Because there's abundance. No, you thought real estate, commercial real estate is confusing. Business brokerage is almost every type of business out there. So no one person controls all of the different verticals because there's just way too much. But Jeff, if you don't mind sharing, because got to know where the money comes from. How do we finance all this stuff? How do we put this together?
It's called your uncle, and in this case, it's called your Uncle Sam. Everybody has a rich uncle. Now we all have a rich uncle. His name is Uncle Sam. It's called the United States Small Business Administration. So can you see my screen here, James?
I can see it. You want to turn it into
Yeah,
just,
I'll do the slideshow here.
yeah, slide mode. Yep.
Hey Jeff, I think you have two different systems going at the same time. I'm hearing an echo, man.
I'm gonna fix that right now.
Perfect. There we go. You ready, Jeff?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
It's still a little echo, but it's not too bad. It's just, I think you have another, maybe your cell or something running in the background.
Okay,
There we
so
go.
good. So what we're talking about is helping business owners stop renting and start owning with federal funding. So this presentation is about what Earl was talking about right now. Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, good. Uh, what Earl was talking about is, there's real estate involved with these transactions. So one easy way without doing the purchase transaction is go talk to business owners out there, and I'll give you some hints. With these new SBA financing programs, you can help a business owner stop renting and start owning with an SBA loan, and you can see the number there with 100% financing. So that may be a door opener out there to find leads out there for them to sell the business. Because a lot of businesses, if you approach them, hey, do you want to sell the business? No, I'm still keeping it. Do you want to sell the business? I'm still keeping. Hey, do you want to stop renting and start owning? Hey, my lease is coming up. I need to do something. So this may be a nice, easy way in there, is helping business owners stop renting and start owning with federal funding. But this, as I mentioned earlier, this SBA financing program has really been updated over the last year. It was just literally updated. So for an existing business owner, and we're going to talk about this in terms of a business brokerage, somebody buying a business, but one business buyer could be an existing business owner. So 100% financing would be available for an existing business to expand and buy out their competitor. So just what Earl was talking about, there are some younger folks out there. They're not all baby boomers that own this business. They can buy out one of these baby boomer businesses, and you can see the number with 100% financing. So there's no down payment required. There's no equity required. And we can do combination financing. We have several banks that do this combination financing where we can pair a $5 million 7A loan. Now we're talking about money, James. The 7A loan is used for business acquisitions. That goes up to $5 million. But we can pair that with up to a $3 million conventional loan and fund those simultaneously. So now, and this is all for the United States, internationally, the SBA is just for the United States. Internationally, Earl's going to have many other choices out there. We're talking about, all 50 states, Prospect in Hawaii, Proctor in the U.S. Virgin Islands, also the territories. This is up to an $8 million financing package, James. So that's a lot of territory right there. So if you wanted to say, what is your window? We work with business owners between 1 million and a sale or purchase price of 1 million to up to $8 million in financing. So there's one kind of territory to kind of filter this down, because you can't work with 12 million business owners. You have to think about where you are and what area you want to work in. So one area you can kind of start to filter this down in is, great, my territory is 1 million to $8 million business purchases. And Earl, what would that mean in terms of a revenue size of, say, a $5 million sale price of a business? How much revenue are you talking about, just generally speaking?
Yeah, probably easily in our case, 350 to 750 in commissions.
I mean, in the gross revenue of the business, if we're saying, okay, what, the business size.
Oh, the gross revenue of a business that's at 5 million. Sometimes a business would be pretty close to the revenue, or 1.25 times the revenue.
Okay, there you go. So I mean, these are nice. I would say small to mid-sized businesses. Again, we're talking about small business administration financing. So that's one source of financing, is 100% financing, and your buyer would be an existing business owner. So again, you're doing two things. You're talking to business owners. Hey, do you want to stop renting and start owning? 100% financing. But while you have them and you're building that relationship, did you know that there's 100% financing through the government where you can buy another business, maybe your competitor? So now all of a sudden you have a buyer, just like Earl was talking about, for one of these businesses that you and Earl can work on. And we're going to talk about what that package looks like in a minute. But this is also another source of business. So you can make your real estate commission, you can make your business brokerage commission referral fees, but there's also referral fees from the SBA financing. So now you have a third source of income just in this business brokerage world and talking about commercial real estate financing. Let's come over here and thank you, James. You mentioned my CE class. So I teach a monthly continuing education course for real estate agents and business brokers, any licensed agent in the state of California. So I'm teaching one this Friday. That's too quick for you, but my next one is at the Newport Beach Realtors Association, and that's going to be in April. So if you want to be invited to that, that's 3 hours worth of CE training. You get CE credit, but mainly we're going to be talking about all these different financing programs. We're talking about marketing and business development techniques, and really what we've been doing on the banking side to find these leads and get them financed. So that if you want more information, free to attend for you as a member of this group here, just email me. I put my email and number in the chat, and I'll send you the invitation. That'll be at the end of April down in Newport Beach, which is not a bad place to go either. Plus, it's a lunch and learn, and you get some free food. And there it is right there. So we're going to be talking about the new 7A and 504 underwriting requirements, how to pre-qualify buyers. Earl, you mentioned that. We spent some nice time on that because you want to work with qualified buyers. You don't want to just be spinning your wheels and it doesn't go anywhere. So we're going to talk about how we qualify somebody with based on the seller's cash flow. All these are based on the seller's cash flow. We get the seller's tax returns. So you can work with a buyer that has no income because all the income for qualification comes from the seller's tax returns. We'll talk about collateral credit. Like I said, we spent about probably half the class on business development and marketing strategies, what we've been doing over the last 10 years in SBA financing world to find these leads, and we share all these techniques with you. This is a decreasing interest rate environment. So another good thing, we have plenty of businesses that something needs to be happen. A silver tsunami, something has to change there, right? That's a moment of change. So luckily, the Federal Reserve is on our side. They've been dropping rates. So prime rate used to be 8.5% about a year and a half ago. Now they've been dropping it. In December, it got down to 6.75. On March 18th, they met again. It's stable interest rate. So it's still 6.75. But this is a good thing. Just like if you ever worked on refinances of homes, you want lower interest rates. When you're buying businesses, when you're buying real estate, commercial real estate, you want lower interest rates. So that's on our side. So now you have another feather in your cap. You don't have to worry about the rates. And we can offer quarterly adjustable rates, 1-year fixed rates, 3-year fixed rates, 5-year fixed rates. Like I said, now with EXP Commercial, we have a number of different lenders we can go to find really, I would say, the lowest rate possible, and really give the customer the lowest payment possible. And what that means, when we can give them the lowest interest rate, they can get more money and buy more business. Would that be helpful, Earl?
That's huge.
So we want to have increased buying power is what they call it, on the financing side. And Earl knows about that, but you want to have increased buying power. And that's another point. When they work with you through EXP Commercial, we're going to be able to offer them the lowest payment possible and give them the most amount of money to help them buy the best quality business out there for what their needs are. And again, the expectation, you can just read. And if you're not on the press releases for the Federal Reserve, there's the link right there, federalreserve.gov. And you got to be, and Earl, I agree with you. You have to be an expert in something. Earl knows about business brokerage. I know about the financing side. You could be the expert business advisor, but you have to know a lot of different things. So go to the federalreserve.gov. You can sign up for the press releases. So if a customer says, well, what's happening with interest rates? You'll have something to say intelligently. There's our rate history. Was anyone in the call around in 1955 or 1979?
Yes.
Earl, you've seen a couple of these.
Yes.
And Earl, sorry.
But he looks great. I'm telling you, Earl, you look great. When I found out about your age, I was like, wow, you look great.
Earl, but I'm very jealous of you. I only have 2 kids, so I got to get to work over here.
Earl's like on his multiple grandkids now.
Life
Who knows?
is good.
God willing, right? Great grandkids soon.
Yeah.
And I'm also jealous because if you have all those grandkids around you, I don't know how many kisses you get on a weekend or on holidays, but you're overloaded with kisses on those cheeks. I swear to God.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy at our house for sure.
Oh,
it's a good crazy though.
Congratulations, man. That's the icing on the cake, all that right there.
Yes.
But you can see what's happening here. So here we are, 6.75 interest rate on prime rate. Now if you have financial background, this is kind of a stock chart, if you will. You want to look at peaks and valleys in a cycle. Okay, it goes down and then it goes up. It goes down. It was stable, and this is the crash of 2008. Then they kept their interest rate stable, and then they were trying to increase it. And then what happened in 2020? COVID came, and then they dropped it again down to 3.25 prime rate. Then they started increasing all the way up to 8.5. And then at the end of 2024, they've been dropping it. So, I mean, just looking at what do you think is going to be happening here in the next year or two?
Yeah.
Lower rates. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, so we're in a good time right now. So we've plenty of sellers out there. You got to find the buyer. We're bringing money to the table, but you have an existing base of people you can find, because you can go to the existing business owners right now, and those could be potential buyers. And usually the objection is, well, I don't have that kind of money for a down payment. Don't worry. Your Uncle Sam just updated all the underwriting guidelines for business buying. For an existing business owner to buy another business, a similar business, 100% financing, you get to keep all of your cash. I mean, what's the objection left, Earl?
Yeah, there isn't any. As long as you... The biggest objection that people have, I think, in business brokerage is whether they have the money and they have the money on a timely basis. And so when you're dealing with someone who can find the money at a good price and get people the business they need on a timely basis, to me, that's everything, Jeff. And especially on the smaller end of businesses, they just go through buyer opportunity after buyer opportunity, and they can't pay for it.
Yep, exactly. So that's the key. So it would be like if you're on the residential side, you got to get a pre-approved buyer before you put them in the car. That's what they teach. But on this side, we for no cost and no obligation, we can get their information, basically their tax returns or personal financial statement, a couple of other SBA applications, get it submitted to one of our credit teams. And I'm talking at the bank level. We'll get them pre-approved as a buyer, because there's really 2 pieces of this puzzle. Getting the buyer pre-approved, they have all the documents. We can get them pre-approved as an eligible buyer, and then getting the target business approved and that cash flow approved. Once we have all the documents together, we put them together, get it up to the underwriting team for whatever bank we're working with, and the bank issues a loan commitment. And the way we work, I'm on this new Japanese work style. I act without delay. And if you and I'm telling you, you have to keep that in your mind. Urgency is a key. Speed is the weapon, right? Act without delay. Something needs to be done, do it immediately. Your customer's calling, pick up the phone, because most people are not. And that's how you'll win business, just right there. But this is the program we're talking about. We're not going to go through all this right now, but the 7A program goes all the way up to 5 million. And you can use it for the business acquisition. Now, if you're working with a buyer that doesn't own a business right now and they just want to buy a business, and we get them pre-approved and they can start shopping around for a business, typically the structure is going to be 90% financing with 10% down payment.
Yep.
Right. Now, another thought here. We're talking about, who are the potential buyers? You have a business. The seller wants to sell it. He's a baby boomer. And, there's a bunch of employees there. Well, if he allows us, we can go in there, make a presentation, because typically you need 10% down for the new buyer. So 90% financing, 10% down payment. And by the way, on a conventional bank loan, that would be like 30 or 40% down payment. Nobody's bringing 30 or 40% down to buy these small businesses for the most part. I mean, they need low down payment, which is going to be 10, maybe 15%, but typically they all want 10% down payment for the most part when we're talking about a $5 million business or under. So we're talking about 10% down payment, 90% financing, 10-year term. That gives them the lowest payment possible. So 10% down payment, where does that come from? It could come from their checking and savings. That's allowable equity injection. This is all from the government now. This is updated. The second one, they could do a cash out refinance against their home, investment property, or they can get a home equity line of credit. That qualifies. Yep. So that becomes 100% financing if you think about it, because if they get a home equity line of credit for the 10% down and 90% financing from the government, they didn't use their money. That was borrowed funds. So that's 100% financing. But you don't want to present it that way, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, that 100% financing, but that is 100% financing. The third one, they can, if they have retirement funds, and a lot of these folks do, that come out of businesses, corporations, that they're retired now and they want to buy a business, and they can do a special ROBS transaction where they can transfer the money and do a new retirement plan that they have control over. And when they do it that way, there's no taxes on the money, and there's no early withdrawal penalty, and they can use that towards the down payment, or even put more money down than 10 or 15%. And if you look at Guidant.com, Guidant Financial, that's one of the big players in that. So for about $4,000 or $5,000, they set all that up for them, and that's all IRS approved, and the banks, approve it. So that's another source. It can come from investors. So on an SBA loan and most conventional bank loans, whoever owns more than 20% of the business has to be the guarantor. But if you say, hey, I'm putting together this group, we're going to be buying this manufacturing facility. They manufacture parts for aerospace and planes down here in Redondo Beach or wherever it is. I have it under contract. I need to raise 10% down payment, which is going to be $500,000 on a $5 million transaction. Are you good for $250,000? You're going to own 5% of the business. Here's what the cash flow looks like. There's about $1.5 million coming in EBITDA. Great. So that could be another source, but another source could be the employees. So if we can make a presentation to the employees of that manufacturing business or the dental firm or whatever it is, we can say, since you're a key employees here, you've been working here, you know this business, instead of bringing in 10% down, they only need to bring in 5% cash, and then we could do a 5% seller note with the seller. So I'm not going to go more than that, but I mean, there's a lot of ways to structure these things between Earl's knowledge, what we can do on the financing side to get somewhere where you can work on an acquisition up to $5 million of a business. And Earl, you mentioned another thing, and I'll end with this. I would say the golden ticket is if you can find a business where you can buy the business and the building together. Number one, we can stretch it all the way up to $20 million, the financing package, and instead of getting a 10-year term when you're just buying the business, we can get the term all the way up to 25 years when you have the building involved.
Yep.
And that's it for me right now.
Thank you, Jeff. You know what? Now I would like to open to the audience, because the one thing is, like I said, the opportunity for the silver tsunami, real estate, and my family has a good amount. They're just passing it in a trust or will, get stepped up basis. Property's already running through property management, leases, very easy. Not easy, but easier. But when there's businesses, you can't just pass it and not run it, or let the employees take over. We all know what happens when they are in charge. And I've seen it, that I own some bars and restaurants. If you just don't watch the numbers or don't have a POS system, all hell breaks loose with your costs. But also with AI, this is what I've always told people, and people with corporate careers, look to possibly buying a business that you can run. So I just want to open this up to any of the audience, and maybe Scott Cook or George, Mike, Nicole. Nicole, I know you do in finance, international business. Maybe Nicole, do you have a question? Because this is a part that I know most people don't touch. Real estate, luxury, global, commercial, business brokerage is a strange outlier. But Nicole, do you have any kind of questions you can ask?
I unfortunately just came in about 6 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. So I missed most of it. I had a doctor's appointment, but I wanted to at least make an appearance. But if he has the slides, I would love to take a look at it because I did want to see the presentation today.
Perfect, Nicole. I'll ask Eddie. Eddie, I know you're building some ground up construction hotel projects, which hotels are businesses. Eddie, do you have any questions? Because I know you're adding F&B, you're adding a lot of parts, probably retail. You want to ask any questions? Because I know you do a lot of investment business and syndications.
Yeah, I would love to learn. Thank you, Earl, by the way, and thank you, Jeff. I would love to figure out how this ties into our whole operating machine. We are outsourcing a lot of materials from overseas China. We're exploring the option of potentially doing an assembly facility here domestically. A lot of moving parts. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this could tie into some of the upfront financing costs that we're looking for, whether it be land acquisition, takedown, and or materials financing, especially when it comes to international partners. Would that, I guess, comply and would that work?
Yeah, Eddie, I can answer that for you. And if you want to, my contact information is in the chat. If you want to email me, I'll send you some more detail on this. So you have the 504 loan that'll run up to 20 million. I don't know what size of your project is, but we can do ground up construction with that because that can be a construction to permanent loan, they call it. And I'm sure you're familiar with it. But how that would work for the 504 loan is that it's all encompassing. So you can put your land cost in there, all your soft costs, all your hard costs of the construction, and you're also going to have an interest reserve line item. So if we will be able to get the whole loan approved up front, it would have two pieces to it. So the first piece would be the construction period. So during that construction period, say it's a $20 million loan approval, that $20 million is being drawn down over the 24-month or 2-year construction period. I'm just throwing out numbers here. So the first draw would be for the land purchase that's drawn down. And then the next draw might be the initial draw for the contractor to do some underground utility work, whatever it is. But during this construction period, you're not making any payment out of pocket. It's fun, that interest only payment that's due every month on that outstanding balance, like a credit card, if you will, is deducted out of this interest reserve account. So that's calculated up front, and that's paying this interest only payment monthly on that draw balance of the loan, like again, just like a big credit card. So it's drawing down. Once the project is complete and the certificate of occupancy is issued, and you open the door, then you'd work with the bank servicing team, and then it converts into the 25-year financing permanent loan period, and then your principal and interest payment would begin. So it's all encompassing in that fact. And typically, if with that 504, the big benefit there is it could be 80 to 85% loan to cost. Typically on a commercial structure, it's going to be maybe 60 to 65% loan to cost. Since 40% of the loan is government guaranteed, that's why you can run it all the way up to that 80 to 85% loan to cost. And probably about a $20 million project size is about the tops for that.
Thank you. And what if we had multiple projects? For instance, one of our initiatives is also rebuilding the Palisades in Altadena. So, we may need to deploy that in tranches across maybe call it 3 to 4 various projects. Is that feasible?
Yeah. And again, the whole country is about renewable energy and all these type of things going green. So about 2 years ago, they updated this SB 504 program. And there's another component. It's called the SBA Green Energy Program. So when you do a $20 million project, you're going to have a commercial loan to it because the 504 is a 2-loan structure. There's a commercial loan and an SBA loan. And the SBA loan is maxed out at 5.5 million. That piece. So once you're maxed out on that under the standard 504 program, that's it for your business. You're maxed out. But with this new green energy program, if you have renewable energy tied to your project, like if you put in LED lights, or 15% of the power is generated from renewable energy, mainly solar panels on a roof, for example, or on top of a parking structure, that kind of wipes away your maximum, and you could have unlimited 504 projects financed. So it's like it's unlimited. So if you, the first one you can just do as a standard, but if you do all the other ones with like, lead construction type of financing, or the solar energy, or 10% savings from high efficiency air conditioning systems, or windows, or the LED lights, and you'd have control over that. We use environmental partners, and they would do a report for us and say, yep, that qualifies, and the SBA takes that report. Then you can have unlimited projects anywhere in the country, which really opens it up.
So Eddie, I think you got to
It's amazing, James. I mean, what I just said there. I mean, if you think about it for a second, unlimited projects of hotels, self-storage, manufacturing facilities, all 20 million, 20 million, 20 million, 20 million, 20 million.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's why, Eddie, you got to talk to Jeff and Earl, because all these specifics, no one knows everything. The laws, rules, financing, everything keeps changing. What you thought you knew sometimes isn't relevant, or there's no more money there. And there's something new that always pops up, right? Every time
That's right.
a bill or something that gets passed by state legislation or Congress, it always changes. So everyone here has to understand there is a massive, massive opportunity. But what you need experts with you to find the opportunity, to understand the opportunity, how to get the financing done. And I'll tell you, because of what's going on with AI, corporate jobs, W-2 jobs are not always there. You need to find and talk to both Jeff and Earl, the right business that are more insulated. Like Earl, you put together healthcare, right? Real estate development, right? Construction. There are certain items that are more AI proof than others. So even now we're talking to college students that says, I'm going to be an electrician. I was an electrical engineer. That degree maybe not be worth anything. Or I'm a computer science. That may be not worth anything. So I'm actually getting my contracting license, my other licenses to see. So actually, I thank everyone for listening, because this is more important than anything you could probably do in your life, mostly because you can own your own business. Let's end with one final update. So I'll start with you, Jeff, and let Earl close us out. But Jeff, what would be your advice to anyone out there right now from just everything you're seeing and what's going on?
I just have to go back to my 100% financing idea right now. So, I mean, you want to build a network of business buyers, right? Especially on the business broker side. But one easy way is you can find every business online, and you can find their contact information. You can contact these business owners and say, hey, a brand new federal government program, 100% financing to stop renting and start owning. You can buy your own building, comprehensive federal funding, or you can buy your competitor with 100% financing to buy the business. Have you thought about either of those couple things, and maybe at all? I mean, that's a great way to build leads, just right in your local area. Just within I mean, I'm in downtown LA. Forget about 10 miles. I couldn't call all the businesses within a 5-mile radius. So you don't need to go all over the world or all over the United States. Just within 10-mile radius of where you are, there's so many businesses you can contact and get leads.
I love that, Jeff. 100% finance it. And because real estate or businesses, it's everywhere within your group. It's all sorts of business, but you can't do it all. You need experts like Jeff and Earl. Earl, do you want to kind of close us out? Final words sharing on all of this, because I know you have been doing this incredible long time and doing some very large deals, and congratulations on all the deals you've been doing. But kind of what Jeff says, a database. I know you have a massive database.
Yeah, I think what is really most important for most people is to identify around you the relationships that know businesses. CPAs out there, marketing companies out there. I meet literally with 4 businesses on average 3 days a week that are referral sources. That's all they are. It's not an opportunity to do a deal. It's a referral source. So my question to everyone is, do you have dedicated time set aside in your week to meet with possible referral or center of influence or strategic alliance relationships that can introduce you to deals that you cannot get to on your own? I believe that the success that people will have in the next 5 years isn't going to be based on cold calling. It's not going to be based on just using AI, although it's going to be extremely helpful. It's going to be based on relationships. It's going to be based on connecting with the right people that are the greatest connections to the people you want to do business with. And so I think that's been true for years, but I think we're getting away from it too much, James. I think we got to get back to the fundamental basics of make time to spend time with the people that can connect you with the people you want to do business with, and be in reciprocal relationships. You work with them to help them, and they work with you. And by doing so, you are able to accomplish a lot more than either of you could on your own.
Earl, thank you. And I do believe personal relationships, all this AI is out there too much. Friendships, relationships are still the biggest thing, trust. So as we all do this, and knowledge, please reach out to Earl and Jeff. Thank you so much for being our guest. This is big. I hope everyone reaches out, has conversations, because this is the opportunity. And also, if you ever thought of having some money, speaking with them about finding a nice company or business you can run, because I know I'm getting inquiries and discussions about this right now. And some parents want to buy businesses for their kids in college or in masters, at graduate school, because they see a corporate job is not going to work. While the parents are still around, give them some money to help them start their own business. But thank you, Earl and Jeff. Again, everyone joined us on Top Agent Nation Commercial Wednesdays. Looking forward to sharing great ideas, and everyone have a great day, great week. See everyone
next week.
Thank you,
James.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Earl.
Bye-bye.